How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the old school Q&A summary. Now this week the team started off by talking about last week's update. ModWolf mentioned that an engine update went live in preparation for the release of a mobile beta later this week, and Modash explained that engine changes need to be launched a bit ahead of time in order to allow Apple time to review and approve them. Modarchie then moved on to the discussion of the membership price increase. He talked about the increase in the size of the team and the increased number of people just from around the business which support old school. He added that this is the first price increase in 3 years and that staying subscribed will allow you to keep your lower price. Moving on, the team discussed the upcoming iOS beta. The beta invites went out on Monday, with the beta going live this Friday. ModWolf said that some usability changes have been made for things like single-click deposit and withdraw, but none of those updates should be present on desktop. Modarchie also mentioned that the Raids 2 playtest has now been arranged, and these people have been invited. And at this point, Modarchie got started with the questions. Fraser asked if Vorkath drops could be noted. ModWolf said that unnoted drops are intentionally there to encourage people to bring along AUX, so no. Allergen asked if Poro could be changed that hopping worlds takes you back to the entrance to prevent bot scouting by hopping around worlds. The team were a bit concerned that legitimate players would also be affected by this, and Mod Ash mentioned that moving rare implings around the maze more would not be hard. Randalicious asked for another priority poll and asked what the team think of them. The entire team said that they definitely see the value in the priority polls, and Modaiza said it's something that has been on his mind. A priority poll hasn't been run since he's been at Jagex, but he feels like it would give a great top level idea of what the team should be working towards. Praternal asked if any Raids 2 rewards will be repolled, as the rewards seem less diverse than those from Raids 1. Mods Aiza and Archie explained that they're happy with what Raids 2 currently offers, and the larger diversity seen with the Raids 1 rewards was in part due to the use of skilling in the raid. This opened up a wider array of potential rewards. With that said, they may still look to rework some of the smaller rewards and repoll them. A player asked for the JMods to name an update which failed a poll, but they personally would have liked to see pass. Modarchie said a couple of things from the PvP poll. Modash said removing the Wilderness Ditch. Mods West and Aiza said the change to the Koren favor, which would remove the need to lock favor in at 100% before you could gain it in another house. And Mod Aiza added the change to PvP safe zones, which would have meant that if you ran into a safe zone while you were being attacked, you'd still be attackable for a few seconds. Frank asked if equipment could be prioritized over food and potions when reclaiming items after dying to Zora or Vorkath. Modash said that that shouldn't be much of a problem at Vorkath because you can choose which items you take, and he also added that Zora never got the interface, but it would be possible to add. However, he would like to add a fee to reclaim your items if that interface were to be added. The team straw polled adding the interface and fee, and got a result of 59% yes. Novsi asked for an additional Dust Devil room in the Catacombs, and suggested a task-only room with a drop table change. ModWolf said that they need to be sure to get the balance of availability right for such a lucrative monster, and Mod Aiza suggested a fee to enter the task-only room. And at this point, the stream moved over to Mod West for the highly anticipated Armour sneak peek. He showed off the model that he created based on the Legend Arts concept, but he did say that he had a little bit more work to do on the helmet. And before we move on, I think we all need to say a big thank you to Mod West for restoring peace and harmony on the 2007scape subreddit, although I think they've actually moved on to something new now, so you know. Good effort at least. He also showed off some brilliant animations for Raids 2 mobs created by Mod Ghost, and Modarchie warned that the frame rate on the stream didn't necessarily represent how it's going to look in the final game, as a few frames were being dropped. Chapter asked if the teleport to house spell could have a right-click toggle to take you outside instead of inside. The team saw no issue with this, as the feature already exists, just in a slightly less convenient place. Deku asked if a right-click shortcut could be added to Ali Morassaine's rune shop. Mod Maz was concerned about doing more Shopman mode. Mod Wolf suggested it could default to the worst haggle, and Mod Ash was just not looking forward to revisiting the Ali Morassaine code. A pleb from the chat asked if there are any plans for a skilling boss for thieving. Modash pointed out that such a boss would have to complete with the likes of RD Knights and Pyramid Plunder, which is definitely not an easy thing to do. Another pleb from the chat asked for improvements to the Iron Man crafting meta, which currently consists of hopping worlds to buy supplies from shops. Mods Ash and Maz believe that creating alternatives to shops for Iron Men is definitely highly desirable. Another player from the chat asked if there will ever be an expansion to the desert, and if not, what about a new bush or cactus patch? ModWolf said that he would like to fill in the eastern side of the desert, and suggested some kind of cactus maze that you have to work your way through in order to pick the cacti. Modarchie said he loves the idea of a desert worm boss which roams the entire desert. The team straw polled the desert worm boss, and it got 88% yes. Someone asked when the next Deadman tournament begins. Modaiza said that the date of the finale will be June 30th, but the start date of the tournament has not yet been determined. A player asked about a Reddit post they made called Chaotic Chemistry, which was a suggestion for a herb lore minigame based on the idea of helping a scientist experiment environment by creating and combining various liquids. Mods West, Wolf, and Maz all enjoyed the idea, but felt there were a few changes that would need to be made. Jord asked if an option for left-click cooking could be added to all ranges. Mod Wolf said that he didn't like this, but he did also mention that left-click on mobile would be very useful. Mod Aiza, on the other hand, said that it's kind of similar to the left-click option on furnaces, and definitely saw the value in the feature. Mod Archie then brought up the sword in the stone suggestion. The idea is to have a sword and a stone at the Grand Exchange which you can pay 10k to try and pull out. There would only be one successful pull across all worlds every 24 hours, and that one lucky person would get 20% of all the proceeds, as well as a fancy cosmetic sword. 80% of the entry fee would be entirely removed from the game. Mod Aiza said that they weren't certain of how legal this might be due to gambling laws. They know it's a popular idea, and Mod Aiza said that he'd follow up to find out if it's possible, and if it isn't, why. Another player suggested that the pest control overlay be moved down, so it doesn't overlap with the XP tracker. Mod Ash said that this could happen if the players wanted it to. And finally, NY suggested a tower defense-like method of training construction, where the players use their construction skill to build different defensive structures. The goal would be to stop hordes of goblins, demons, and other creatures. He wanted an alternative to the currently stale and repetitive methods of training construction. The team seemed fond of the idea, but they weren't sure of how large of an update it might be. Anyway, that is all for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe for future episodes, and I'll see you in the next one.